I am not a fan of Jaylen Brown. For years now, I've been pushing the Celtics to trade him. So when I saw all the rumors floating around this offseason, I got really excited. Then I saw the actual trade. Jaylen Brown is a talented player, but his playstyle wasn't compatible with Joe Mazzulla's system. That being said, receiving a 36-year-old Paul George as the main return for him is diabolical for so many reasons. But first, we need to understand why both I and the Celtics thought it would be best to trade Brown in the first place. It's because Jaylen Brown makes the Celtics a worse basketball team. This sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not. In each of his last 4 seasons, the Celtics' net rating has been better when Jaylen Brown is off the court than when he's on, both in the regular season and in the playoffs. This past season, he had an on-off of minus 4.6 in the regular season and minus 31.4 in the 7-game playoff series against Philadelphia. But why is this? Well, let's take a look at the Celtics roster construction to find out. In the 2025 season, the Celtics had a starting lineup of Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Sam Hauser, Jaylen Brown, and Neemias Queta for most of the season. Compared to the other elite teams in the NBA, there is one thing that the Celtics lack, and that's a primary ball handler or decision maker. When we look at the top 10 offenses in the NBA, every single one featured an NBA player who averaged at least 6 assists last season. Teams would run their offenses through this player, through pick and rolls, post-ups, isolations, and they can use their dual scoring and playmaking threat to break down defenses. All except one, the Boston Celtics. This was intentional. In lieu of relying on a single star, Joe Mazzulla designed an egalitarian system in which the Celtics used movement, screening, and passing to create advantages. Look at this play from the Celtics' Game 1 against the Sixers. Derek White brings up the ball, and noticing that he's under pressure from Edgecombe, Vucevic steps up to provide a passing option. As Vucevic receives the ball, Tatum and Hauser run an off-ball action, where Hauser sets a screen for Tatum, who then receives a handoff from Vucevic, forcing Paul George to fight through 2 screens and putting him behind the play. Maxey then slides over into Tatum's driving gap, which leaves Hauser wide open for Tatum to find. This causes Maxey to lunge to recover, biting on Hauser's up fake and leaving him space to cash a wide open 3. 4 of the 5 Celtics were involved in this beautiful basketball play. Jaylen Brown spent the possession sitting in the corner. The issue with Brown is that he simply lacks the basketball IQ and court vision to make any of these reads. Let's compare the previous possession to a Jaylen Brown possession. Brown starts in the middle of the floor and White sets him a screen, but Brown rejects it. He then drives in and Maxey slides into his driving gap, leaving Walsh open, but Brown doesn't see it. There is then an off-ball action run as Vucevic screens for Pritchard to cut, but Brown is already in rhythm and takes a step-back mid-range jump shot, which rims out. It's already clear what the issue is. This is a graph showing the usage rate of players in the NBA compared to their assist percentages. Brown has the second highest usage rate in the entire league, but his lack of vision means he ranked just 34th in assist percentage, which severely inhibited the Celtics offense when he had the ball. Outside of his vision, the other issue Brown had with initiating the offense is in his handles. It's a joke among the NBA fans that Jaylen Brown has no left hand, but when you watch closely, he really lacks control over the ball when he dribbles with his left. I specifically remember Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals when the Celtics played the Miami Heat. Brown had 8 turnovers, and 5 of them came because he tried to dribble the ball with his left hand and completely lost control while driving. Generally, players with more assists will have more turnovers because they are the ones constantly making riskier plays, which yield higher rewards. However, Jaylen Brown ranks 5th in the NBA in turnovers while ranking 34th in assists. He is constantly losing the ball while driving or even just dribbling around. When you consider the context, it makes sense that the Celtics play worse with Brown on the court. They play an egalitarian system with passing, screening, and cutting. But Brown is being used as this primary offensive initiator while being both a poor passer and a poor ball handler. This doesn't necessarily mean he's an awful player, just that he's being used in the wrong role. This is why it irks me when analytics guys like Bobby Marks say that people on his team think that Jaylen Brown is the 7th best player on the Celtics. I understand that the Celtics perform worse when he's there, but making claims like that without adding proper context just gives analytics a bad name. I don't know if I have to say this, but Jaylen Brown is obviously not the 7th best player on the Celtics. The guy is one of the best isolation scorers in the entire NBA, ranking 5th in the league in points off isolations. His efficiency of 1.01 points per possession isn't elite, but it's still above the efficiency of the average half-court possession at 0.98 points per possession. He's also a decent floor spacer, shooting 37% on his wide-open threes, although taking a lot of contested pull-up threes has tanked his overall three-point percentage. And finally, he's a solid defender who has the strength, athleticism, and timing to guard wings or stay in front of smaller guards. However, all this does beg the question, if it's not how the Celtics are using him, what is the correct way to use Jaylen Brown? Looking around the league, Brown is far from the only isolation expert with poor decision-making whose on-off metrics are negative. The teams of Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram, Paolo Banchero, Norman Powell, Anthony Edwards, and DeMar DeRozan all play worse with them on the court, despite all of these players being all-stars at some point during their careers. To be honest, this is my least favorite archetype of NBA player because of the issues they present. But there is a player in the NBA who last season showed just how effective a player of this mold can be. Last season, Kawhi Leonard ranked 2nd in the entire NBA for on-off, posting arguably the best offensive season of his entire career. Yet, his isolation numbers are very similar to a lot of the negative on-off players that I previously mentioned. So what's different? It's mainly the way he's used. Kawhi operates more than any of these guys in the pick and roll, and having a screener like Ivica Zubac for a lot of the season allowed Kawhi to create a bit more separation from defenders, giving him easier shots. While his isolations were at about 0.98 points per possession, his pick and rolls were up at 1.1, which is more efficient. But even more important is the fact that unlike the rest of these players, Kawhi spent the season playing with a high-quality lead offensive initiator and not acting as the lead offensive initiator himself. Look at the point guards of the players I've previously named. Durant played with a man at point guard because Van Vliet was injured. Banchero had Suggs, Powell had Davion Mitchell, Edwards had DiVincenzo, DeRozan had Westbrook, Ingram had Quickly, and Jaylen Brown had Peyton Pritchard. Most of these players aren't bad, but they don't have the skills to be a lead initiator, which means that their counterparts on the wing are given more responsibility to bring up the ball. Because Kawhi had James Harden and Darius Garland, he was able to focus more on his scoring and operating off the ball, leaving the passing and ball handling to players who were more skilled than him in that aspect. This is exactly how I believe Jaylen Brown should be used. An off-the-ball scorer and late-clock isolation scorer, not a primary offensive initiator. Obviously, it would be preferable if he did, but he doesn't even need to develop his handles or decision-making to play this role. But his impact would be way greater. This is part of the reason that I love the fact that the 76ers just signed LeBron James. I was worried that with Maxey and Edgecombe both being primary scorers, adding another score-first guy in Brown would just make their offense even less cohesive. But by bringing in LeBron, the 76ers now have a lead initiator who can act as a coach on the floor and distribute to all of the scorers. But to answer the question, will the Celtics actually benefit from this Jaylen Brown trade? In my opinion, the answer might be yes. Without Brown, I expect there to be more movement, passing, and cutting, without Brown hogging the ball for isolation, and the team will continue chugging along just the same as last year, posting a similar or maybe even better record, especially with Jason Tatum coming back, who is a better decision maker and ball handler than Brown. But do I still think this was a dumb trade from the Celtics? Also, yes. Jaylen Brown isn't a bum. If used in the right role, he can easily provide all-star impact in the NBA. And trading him for a 36-year-old man and 2 first-round picks is embarrassing from the Celtics, especially when you consider other offers they had on the table. That's all for today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one.